Today's Sunshine Note is titled, The Prophets Who Wept for 40 Years. The word of the Lord came to me, saying, Before I formed you in the womb I knew you. Before you were born I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Ah, sovereign Lord, I said, I do not know how to speak. I am only a child. Jeremiah 1:4-6. With every football, basketball, or baseball game, there is one linking factor that serves to captivate the audience. The question, who will win? The fact that you don't know is what keeps you watching, checking the scores, following every play in detail. You want to see the end, the final score, and hopefully your team come to victory. But what would it be like if you always knew before the game started that you were going to be the loser? No matter how hard you practiced, no matter how much money or talent you had, you knew that through some sick twist of fate you were going to lose. Eventually, after you'd convince yourself that these feelings were more than just nervousness or fear, I'm betting you'd just give up playing. Who wants to keep playing a game you know you're doomed to fail? Well, that's exactly the situation Jeremiah was in after God called him to be a prophet only 40 years before he allowed the destruction of Jerusalem by the Babylonian Empire. Jeremiah, born into a family of priests, lived just outside the capital city of Jerusalem. He lived happily through the early part of his life, but when God called him to speak to the nations as his prophet, he cringed with doubt and fear. I am only a child, he cried, hoping that God had made a mistake. For the next 40 years, Jeremiah went through so much struggles, pain, and rejection that he became known as the weeping prophet. This didn't make him a wimp. A lesser man would have quit long before. He even escaped death at the hands of Nebuchadnezzar when Jerusalem was destroyed. What makes me so interested in Jeremiah is that in spite of hardship, his whole message was that we need to enter into a heart relationship with God, not a formalistic ceremony. He said that God wants to meet with us where we are now, and that he desires a two-way relationship, not just a religious robot. Jeremiah lived on the edge of God's punishment against his people, so his message isn't bogged down with fluff. He cuts to the chase and gives things straight. He gives us a refreshing picture of God. Sometimes we're tempted to feel as if God is distant and uninvolved. Jeremiah's story shows he is anything but. May God bless you today.